are gonna get better now, but you're still a drunken slob. Things are gonna get better now.
It's that time. It's your favorite time. Head Bangers and Hooligans. The show that you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get my fix of Scumalicious and all the neat stuff he talks about. Well, some of it's neat, some of it's kind of useless, but it's still entertaining. At least I hope so. So I want to do something a little different today. It's still music, but I just wanted to just talk about something that I haven't really gone into too much, and not that it's happened a whole lot. And you would know this by all the bands that I name and talk about. Bands that I loved that got popular at one point, you know, and there was a song about that one time, and I can't remember the band, and basically they were saying, we're only cool until we get popular. And you know, there's some truth to that. I don't know why that is, especially with maybe some hardcore punk fans, but you know, especially with like NoFX, let's say. Yeah, I'm using NoFX. Wow, Scumalicious, you must be really desperate. You hate Fat Mike. I just hate a couple of things that Fat Mike said and did. Anyway, you know, that kind of flew under the radar, and then, you know, Green Day took off and Offspring, and then all of a sudden, a lot of these, which NoFX had already been around for a while, you know, and maybe some bandwagon type people, you know, were kind of hitching a ride to that punk rock wagon. That's kind of weird to say that, isn't it? Punk rock wagon. How about a punk rock Pinto Wagoneer with Desert Air and dual exhaust? Anyway, you know, just like remember Metallica and Justice for All, you know, and they finally did the video for One, first video they'd ever done, and then the Black Album happens, and you know, all the Metallica fans that were there for, you know, Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets. Who are these people at this concert, right? So this guy discovers Metallica by hearing Enter Sandman, and now all of a sudden he's a Metallica fan, and I understand that, you know, and it's so weird. You hear me say it all the time. Hey, check it out on YouTube, and then go buy the album, because they need your money, and they really do. But when you discover a band that no one else knows, okay, and you kind of connect them as like, I want you to like them, but I don't want you to like them too much, because this is my band, you know. I don't want to be walking around and seeing other people wearing my band's t-shirt. It's like, what do you know about that band? You weren't there in the beginning. You weren't there when I was listening to their demo tapes. You asshole. I suppose you're one of those people that shop at Hot Topic, right? I know, it's kind of a messed up mentality, but that's the way we were. You know, the whole music industry has changed especially with the way the bands make money now. And I've said this before. Hardly any of the bands I know that I enjoy and that I talk about hardly make any money from selling albums anymore. All the money that they make, most of it is from playing live shows and selling merchandise. But I just kind of wanted to talk about a few bands, and my bands. You know how I always say that in little quotation marks. because they belong to me. Step back, bitches. This is my band. But I came up with 7, you know, and I just wanted to kind of highlight how they got popular, what happened since they got popular. Are they still making records, and are people still liking them the same way? You know, thought it'd be fun. Anyway, Real Big Fish. That's the first band I listed. The first song I ever heard was the one they played on the radio. She has a girlfriend now. Remember that one? And I liked it. Heard it on the radio. So, in actuality, I can't really consider them a band I discovered, but I like that song. I went and I bought the album, turned the radio off. Great album, by the way. Great album. And what happened after that? Well, we heard the, what was the other single off that? Sell Out, first track off of the album that got kind of popular. They made a video for it. After that, they really weren't that popular anymore. And you know, when was it? A couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, they had released another album. And they've been consistently releasing albums since then, back in, when was that? Like around 97 or 98. And it was the whole ska thing. Remember that? Real Big Fish. I can't remember. There was a couple other bands. I know the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones were kind of popular. Before them, a couple years before, you know, oh, I never had to knock on wood, but I know someone who has. You know, remember that? Anyway, and it's just funny, like, with a lot of these bands, I won't say a lot, with a few of these bands, they just get that 15 minutes of fame, and no one pays attention anymore. But Real Big Fish is still going, and all the hardcore fans are still there. And they're still, for me, I still think they're putting out good music. You know, some people disagree, but you know what? You get that 15 minutes of fame, enjoy it. Enjoy every second of it, right? Dropkick Murphys. Now, this band, first time I ever seen it, 1997, Des Moines, Iowa. I'm kidding, it's Des Moines. But people that aren't from here, they always say, oh, you're from Des Moines? No, Des Moines. It's French, which is really weird. Why does Iowa have a city that's got a French name? Anyway, they were kind of somewhat popular, alright? 1997. Kind of heard about them, read about them in the magazines, a little bit on the internet. Never heard one song from them. I went to that show and I was like, that kicks ass. Dropkick Murphys, Agnostic Front, US Bombs, alright? And, you know, Al Barr had just became the lead singer. This is right after the original guy left, Mike McClogan, I think. Anyway, loved it. Great show. And I went and I bought Do or Die. And then the gang's all here. And I just kept, you know, buying these albums. And they were gaining momentum the whole time, right? And then that song, Shipping It Up to Boston. And I believe it was off the Warriors Code, that album that's got Mickey Ward on the cover, the boxer. And it's a really good album. It is, but I hate that fucking song. And the video, of course, on YouTube, and I posted on it, because I said, I met the Dropkick Murphys, Al Barr and Ken Casey, great guys, really cool. But you know what? That song almost literally ruined the band for me. Every movie, Shipping It Up to Boston, whoa. It was in the town, and then the Patriots game, every Boston Bruins game, and then the Boston Red Sox. You know, they were connected with every Boston sports team, right? And I haven't bought an album since then. And it's nothing against them. I still think they're a really good band. And see what I mean? That's kind of stupid on my part, you know. Like if somebody said, "Are you gonna stop listening to Poli?" If all of a sudden they started, sold 1 million records, of course not. But there's something about kind of having that. How do I say this without sounding kind of creepy? This intimate relationship with some of these bands, you know. Hey, why don't you tell me about Poli? Well, I'll tell you a little bit. I don't want you to know everything about Poli. Why? Because they're my band. You got it? You better walk real softly, boy. Because I get real fucking irritated when you try to know too much about one of my bands. I know. See, that's why I'm doing this. It's like, okay, Scummalicious, you talk about all these bands and you want people to like their music, but not too many people. What the fuck? I know. It's so confusing. Third one. Faster Pussycat. This one is really, really weird. Okay. So we're talking the 80s. Remember, I'm in Iowa, and I know I've explained this a lot, but I always have to make it clear. That's what was popular at the time. In Iowa, we didn't get exposed to all the other stuff. Alright? Like everything that was popular in California, New York, it takes it about a year to get to us, okay? Anyway, and I seen that video on Headbangers Ball. I was like, wow, that is really cool. And, they look like women. But I love the song. Got your number off the bathroom wall. And I went and bought the cassette. And I'm telling you, every song was good. And then, about a year later, everybody in high school was kind of listening to Faster Pussycat. And I thought, wait a minute. I really don't want everybody liking this band, because this is my band. I discovered it. I'm the one that made the leap of faith and went out and bought the cassette before anybody else, and now you guys ride my train. Stop it. Anyway, so I go to Atlanta, and they get popular with Wake Me When It's Over, the album, and it had, of course, House of Pain, and it was huge, and so strange. I'm like, this little band that was kind of my band is not that band anymore, and after that song, they had their next album. They were already done, because the glam thing was over, and alternative and the whole grunge shit had taken over. But for that one album, hey, they had a good time, made some money, and now they're back to being one of my bands, right? But I want these bands to make money, okay? I don't want it to make it sound like I don't want them to make money. Yes, I do. They bust their ass. Most of the bands that I talk about, they don't have a bunch of roadies and people doing all their shit for them. They're the ones loading and unloading their equipment every night. I want them to make money. I don't want millions and millions of people listening to them, I guess. I know, I'm a prick. Alright, Rancid. And I'm going to specifically talk about And Out Come the Wolves. Remember the two big songs off that? Rudy Soho, Time Bomb. White coat, black shoes, red hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys at Time Bomb. I love that song. In fact, I listened to it this morning. Really popular. And I know one of my roommates at the time, he hated Rancid. The Buckster will tell you. Yeah. Of course, he'd make fun of Tim Armstrong every time he sang. And this guy liked Nirvana, right? He'd make fun of the way Tim Armstrong would sing, and then I'd kind of make fun of the way Kurt Cobain sang. Polly wants a cracker. Did a bit of said for free, you know, the depressing shit. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Make fun of fucking Tim Armstrong. Alright? You worship a heroin junkie that's depressed all the time. It doesn't look like he hasn't showered in fucking 3 months. Anyway, Rancid. That little window right there. I thought, I love them. And Out Come the Wolves is an amazing album. It's the Buckster's favorite punk album. Favorite punk band. And I love them too. The great thing about Rancid is they got popular, leveled off a little bit, because they had Life Won't Wait, self-titled, and then they made a comeback with Indestructible, right? Or yes, Indestructible. Sorry, I had to check the title real quick. And you had a couple videos off there. It kind of made a comeback, but not a big enough to come back to where, you know, they exploded. Although, I gotta admit, the one video, and it's got Kelly Osbourne in it, and I'm like, guys, come on. Kelly Osbourne? Really? And then, what are they? Hell, they released a couple after that. Let the Dominoes Fall. Anyway, I stuck with them. You know, I was like, okay, they're gonna get popular, but especially with punk music, people like it for a little bit, and then they get tired of it, and that's exactly what happened, which was kind of cool. But bands like Rancid and Pennywise and Poli and Strung Out, they withstand the test of time. They're still going, and they're still doing okay, and I like it that way. People know about them enough, but it's not too crazy. I'm a confusing fucker, ain't I? You're saying, what do you want? I know. LA Guns. I put them on here. They're kind of like Faster Pussycat. Now, I didn't like LA Guns like I liked Faster Pussycat. I liked their songs. I thought they were kind of a little bit more of a rougher edge to them. I did like that. And Tracy Guns was kind of a prick. I know. Why would I like a guy that's a dick? I don't know. Because I can kind of be a dick sometimes. I just would read all these stories. Tracy Guns is a conceited prick, and it's all about him. Well, why not? He's a guitarist. It is about him. It's about guitar solos, and he wants all the women. Understand it. Yeah, he's in a glam band. He should be the focal point of the band. I know the way he's thinking. Anyway, remember that they had the Bout of Jane? Which was so weird. It was like, is LA Guns kind of copying Faster Pussycat a little bit? Because, like Faster Pussycat's debut album, 10 songs, 30 minutes. Then, Wake Me When It's Over, it's like an hour long, you know, a lot longer songs. And then LA Guns was the same way, with their debut, short, to the point. And then, you know, the second record is, they're progressing as a band with longer songs. I don't know. It just kind of felt like that a little bit. What happened to Jane? Things ain't what they seem. Just like Faster Pussycat. They're really big, and just like them, their next album, not bad, but no one gave a shit anymore. It's alternative and grunge. And I just read on Facebook a couple days ago, they got a new album out. And I actually checked out the video. The singer actually sounds pretty good. Phil Lewis. I was kind of surprised, because some of them glam guys now, wow, they look rough. They really do. Some of them, not all of them. It's like, wow, maybe I know why you wore makeup. Holy shit, kind of scary looking. Gore, yes, they're on here. And the reason they're on here, remember, they got nominated for a Grammy. America Must Be Destroyed, that album, the video to that, Phallus in Wonderland. Remember? I did the video. I mentioned that. It's a great video. It's got like the 5 videos, and it's a story. You know, his penis gets lost and it comes back to him. Talking about Otis, my dad. I get sentimental when I talk about it. How do you think you would feel if you lost your penis, but then it came back to you? It woke you up by kissing you on your lips. It's just a magical moment thinking about that. But I mean, they weren't crazy popular, but they remember Beavis and Butthead with this Toilet Earth. Jack, Jack the world. Jack, Jack the world. We're gonna jack your world. Remember that? And that Beavis and Butthead, he war. And they were even in the video game. But as we've seen over time, they've been there. And nowhere, I can't remember what it was, what album that I was looking at, and it only sold like 75,000 copies. And I'm thinking, for Gore? You gotta be kidding me. I can't remember the album, but it just kind of blew me away. Right there shows you how music has changed. But I am glad that for a little bit there, a band that has definitely busted their ass for going on 3 decades has got a little bit of fame from it. A little bit. And even we're on the Bonnaroo, that crazy festival with all the different bands. Imagine that. Gore played a show with Stevie Wonder. I think that's crazy. Couple little things left here. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I'd mentioned them earlier. I had been listening to them ever since I discovered Monkey Pup. Same guy that I mentioned when I first heard Murphy's Law, Monkey Pup. He had a cassette of the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Here, it's ska. You know, he knew all about it. He'd been listening to it for a couple of years. I'm from Iowa, remember? What the fuck is ska? It's got horns in it. And I liked some of the songs. I wasn't crazy about them. But then the video, the impression that I get, and I remember I was in Arizona at the time, and it came on, and I was like, yeah, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. You've heard of them? Yeah. These guys have been going for a while now, you know, and that really was it for them. Think about that. And they've been putting out albums since then too, or after that. But literally, and I hate that. Oh, they're a one-hit wonder. No, they're not. They had one song that got played that was pushed by the record label. A lot of bands don't get promoted the same as other bands. They're not a one-hit wonder. So good for them. A little bit of fame, a little bit of money, even for a year. I'm sure they were glad to take it. And the one last thing I want to mention, because I think it's awesome, Grand Theft Auto 4, the video game, yes. Jimmy Gestapo being the voice of the DJ for the New York City hardcore station. I thought that was awesome. Trust me, Murphy's Law, if there is a band that deserves to make some kind of money, it's Murphy's Law. Just like Gore. We're going back to the 80s, a band that's been doing this for 3 decades. That guy, just look him up. He has a lot of respect, especially from all the East Coast bands. Murphy's Law and Monkey Pup, they're kind of intertwined together. And my son just loved hearing him talk. Every time we played that game, he'd go straight to that station so he could laugh hearing Jimmy Gestapo talk between the songs. I just thought that was cool. Good for him. I don't know what they paid him for that. Whatever it wasn't enough. So there you go. Bands that my bands, include, in parentheses, what happens when they get popular? Like I said, it's weird. I don't know what to think. Wait, this is my band, and other people like them now. it's a weird feeling for me. So I just kind of I wanted to explain why. And like I kept saying through the podcast, I know I am so fucking confusing. I'm worse than a woman. Alright. Video coming. Battle of the Bands, Gob. Down by Law. I'll be uploading it soon. Alright. Take it easy. And if it's easy, take it twice. I'm out.